Hello, and a very good morning to you, and welcome to the team presentation for Red Bull KTM Factory Racing and Red Bull KTM Tech3, where we're getting two for the price of one this morning. So a very big welcome along to the latest team presentation show, where we're going to have 4 bikes revealed. 4 brilliant riders we're going to hear from as well. And arguably KTM's most stacked lineup ever in MotoGP. So it's an exciting show and lots to get through. So it's very interesting times indeed at the Austrian brand. Some off-track uncertainty surrounding them throughout the off-season, but they are here and ready for the 2025 MotoGP campaign. Aki Ajo, of course, the new team manager on the factory squad, while Tech3 bring in some experienced GP race-winning riders. So there's going to be a lot of competition within the ranks of the KTM garages aboard 4 RC16s. So, without much further ado, let's get through the show today. It is the latest in the 2025 team presentations. As you can see there on the screen, we've already had Trackhouse Racing and Aprilia Racing. Gresini Racing MotoGP were the first of the Ducati squads out. Then indeed it was the Ducati Dream Team of Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia live. That came live from Medaglia di Campiglio. Apologies for my butchering of the Italian mountain there. That was followed by Pertamina Enduro VR46 Racing Team, and now we have the price of 2 for 1 with Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, Red Bull KTM Tech3. Tomorrow then, on Friday, the 31st of January, it's the Monster Energy Yamaha squad with Yamaha Pramac making their debut aboard the M1s this season. And we have Lewis Sotheby in Jakarta tomorrow to bring you live action. Later then, it is the Honda teams who will finish out the 2025 team presentations. First up on Saturday, 1st of February, it's Honda HRC. And then Saturday, the 8th of February, it's LCR Honda. Well, then on Sunday, the 9th of February, is the big Bangkok launch from Bangkok itself. And it is the first ever MotoGP launch of a campaign, so exciting times. Make sure you tune in then. You can very much be part of that and attend the show. And if you can't attend in person, you can certainly watch along. So let's have a look at some of the comments coming in online. We can't wait for Pedro Acosta to shine with the official KTM colours. Let's go Shark, the Shark of Mazaron. That comes from Suppy89. And I couldn't agree more. Pedro Acosta, what a rising talent he is. Yet to win in the MotoGP class, but he is a 2-time world champion across the Moto2 and Moto3 categories. 2 in 3 years. Will he get that first win this year? Let's go KTM. That came from a South African comment. I will watch this because I am a fan of Maverick Vinales from Benzema. Maverick Vinales, of course, a 10-time MotoGP race winner, the only rider in 2024 to stop the Ducatis from taking the top step, and he moves to the Tech3 squad this season. Very exciting time to see what he can do. Live from Nigeria, Africa, that comes from Odogu BLT, so it's great to see KTM have fans stretching across the globe and across the continents. Keep those comments coming in and we will react as we go along. Now, one of the things about this year's KTM lineup, which I'm quite excited about, is the 4 riders are of the highest pedigree. So let me know if you agree with that or not. Do you think that we'll see some more KTMs on the top step? We haven't seen a KTM on the top step in quite a few years, though 3 of the 4 riders we have this year on RC16s have got multiple race wins under the belt. The other rider is Pedro Acosta, a 2-time world champion and the rising star of MotoGP. So, speaking of Pedro Acosta, let's, in fact, not quite yet, we're going to have a look at what's coming up on Sunday, the 9th of February.
MotoGP is back.
22 riders all in attendance at the big Bangkok launch for 2025, the first of its kind it is going to be unmissable. That gets underway at 9:30 a.m. UTC time, so make sure you tune in then. Now, as I mentioned, we were talking about Pedro Acosta, one of the rising stars of MotoGP world, and he features heavily in the latest season of There Can Be Only One.
It's easy to dream and difficult to achieve.
There's no question we have another big superstar in the making in Pedro Acosta.
My thought it was amazing.
Unbelievable.
Was like...
This is quite astonishing, quite remarkable, isn't it?
Ahí, tocando los cojones, top 3 ya.
There is your glimpse of the future, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought which career is gonna start. Okay, we go.
La carrera para ganarla no hace falta ser más rápido. Hace falta ser más rápido. It's like when your girlfriend compares with the ex. La gente está cachonda perdida.
We don't give up until we reach the very top of this class.
Oh my God, esto va a ser épico, papu.
This is going to be epic, mate, is what Pedro Acosta says, and what a star he is in the making. As I mentioned, a Moto3 world champion in his rookie campaign that included an absolutely sensational win from pit lane in Qatar. That was followed up with a Moto2 title win in his sophomore season, and then he moved into the MotoGP class last year. Came close to victory. Couple podiums, a pole position, but will we see him break through and be on the top step of a Grand Prix podium in 2025? 100% of you. This is a live poll, so get your votes in. Press A if you think he will make that breakthrough victory, or B if you think we will be waiting another season. But what an absolute star. I know what I think, and it's certainly a yes. What was it? He was on pole position in Japan. Very unfortunate at the Japanese Grand Prix. Very unfortunate not to follow through with a victory, crashing out of the lead in both the sprint and the Grand Prix race that day, I believe. He's had a number of podiums already in the MotoGP class. An absolute star in the making, and I cannot wait to see him in action in 2025. If you do think he is going to get that win this year, get into the comments then and let us know where you think he's going to do it. Pedro Acosta, the absolute star in the making. So, let's have a look at some of the more comments coming in. And if you aren't commenting, get commenting. Hello from Austria. Austria, of course, the home of KTM, where the initial idea was born in Meyerhofen, and their home Grand Prix comes at the Red Bull Ring every year. And all the way from Jakarta, KTM once again showing us their global appeal. Good afternoon from Jakarta, says Ibnu Faki. Jakarta, of course, the capital of Indonesia, where we'll be heading later in the year for the Indonesian Grand Prix at Mandalika. Let's go Maverick. Maverick bringing plenty of fans to the Tech3 squad. Maverick, an absolute talent on his day, and we all know what Vinales is, a mercurial rider, but when he is fast, he is unstoppable. This is coming from Jakey Boy. I'm excited for KTM's presentation, especially with their new signings, and it is a good point that Jakey Boy touches on. I think it is arguably the most stacked lineup in the KTM garages, possibly in their MotoGP time, maybe just in recent years, but you've got 4 riders of unbelievable quality, including this one. Enea Bastianini is going to be a beast to deal with for all the other KTM riders. That comes from the Crusher Drago. Enea Bastianini, of course, a 7-time Grand Prix winner. He's spent all his career in the MotoGP class aboard a Ducati, so it's a new adventure for him on the RC16. Good to see Acosta back with number 37. Big support from Indonesia, from Calvindra L. So keep those comments coming in. We will get back to them a little bit later on. But let's take a deeper look at the KTM lineup and who will be riding on the RC16s in 2025, starting with their stalwart rider Brad Binder. Brad, of course, has been on the RC16 since 2020. 2020 in Brno, we saw him break through and take victory, joining a pretty exclusive list of rookie riders to win a race. I think Marc Marquez, Valentino Rossi, Jorge Martin, and maybe Jorge Lorenzo are the only other riders there. I'm sure maybe I'm missing somebody, so if I am, make sure you let me know in the comments. But 2020 in Brno he took victory, and then 2021 in Austria at his home Grand Prix in pretty sensational conditions. He rode home, and to say he rode home is maybe a little bit generous. He crept home in the rain on slick tyres for his most recent win. It has been 2 full seasons since we've seen Binder on the top step, but he has been the top rider on an RC16 since 2021. Came close last year to losing his KTM King crown as Pedro Acosta pushed him all of the way, with Acosta finishing 6th, Binder finishing 5th in the championship, with the South African taking it off the rookie rider on the final round at the Solidarity Grand Prix. So Binder has got his hands full, no doubt, as Pedro Acosta steps up to the MotoGP team, factory team of Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, as we have a little look at Acosta spinning some laps around Barcelona last time at the most recent test in Barcelona after the Solidarity Grand Prix. We will see both riders in action again quite soon at the Sepang test, which is just a couple of days away. So Binder or Acosta, who will be the top KTM this year? Make sure you let us know in the comments. It's going to be a hell of a dogfight between the two of them, and indeed even with the Tech3 riders, but we will touch more on that. So if the KTM matches the Ducati, KTM will be extremely competitive. Awesome talent in the squad. Gerhard Kokemoer coming in with the comment on YouTube. And it is a good point he touches on. I've said it already. It's a very stacked lineup in the KTM garages, but perhaps hasn't quite got the attention that Ducati and Aprilia have gotten in 2025. And naturally so. Brad Binder for champion in 2025. Another South African fan coming in. Conrad this time. But as I was mentioning, KTM have maybe gone under the radar somewhat with their off-track issues over the off-season, with the noise being made at Ducati's dream team of Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia lining up alongside one another, and then Jorge Martins, the world champions, moved to Aprilia alongside Marco Bezzecchi, dominating most of the headlines. We haven't seen a whole lot of noise about the 4 riders at KTM, so maybe that will suit them, coming in under the radar somewhat. They've been winless now a couple of seasons, so let's see if they can get themselves back onto the top step on a Sunday. Of course, they do have plenty of sprint wins to their name, thinking of Brad Binder back in 2023. So, looking further at it, we have the MotoGP store. Gear up for 2025 at the official MotoGP store. Head on over to MotoGP.com to get all of your needs for the upcoming campaign. That is, you can buy all the KTM gear, you can buy your Pedro Acosta fan gear. And if you're not a KTM fan, we have Ducati, we have Aprilia, we have Yamaha and Honda gear available too, as well as Video Pass, where you can track all of the action. Timing Pass is there too, so whatever you need for 2025 to get in the mood for the championship, find it at the MotoGP.com/store. So, as I mentioned, Tech3 among those teams that have gone under the radar somewhat, but they've brought in a 7-time race winner, Enea Bastianini, a huge talent, the Italian. He was with the Ducati team on a Ducati bike for the past 4 seasons, with the factory Ducati team outright for the past 2 seasons, and he is coming to KTM Tech3 team with a point to prove. He was snubbed for the Ducati factory seat in favour of Marc Marquez, so he has opted for pastures new. He had an unfortunate spell, shall we say, in his first season with the Ducati factory squad, injury plagued, but he did pick up that very memorable victory at the Malaysian Grand Prix before having a cracking 2024 season where he finished 4th in the championship, just losing out in the battle for bronze and 3rd position. Joining Bastianini at the Tech3 squad is the only rider to deny Ducati a victory in 2024. That is Maverick Vinales, who took a stunning victory at the 2024 Americas GP at the Circuit of the Americas. The number 12, certainly one to watch in 2025. We'll touch a little bit more on him very shortly, because the moment you've all tuned in for is coming now. The livery reveal of the Red Bull KTM factory racing machines and the Red Bull KTM Tech3 teams. Let's take a look. That message is loud and clear from KTM. They are Red Bull KTM and they are ready to race. And how good do they look? We have 4 similar looking bikes, so I don't pity our commentators this year, as they will have maybe some troubles distinguishing the 4 different machines because they're guaranteed to be fighting at the very front of things. But they look very good. If it isn't broke, don't fix it, as I say. Pedro Acosta and Brad Binder on the factory squad, lining out in a similar livery to what we have seen in years previous, but I have to say it looks very sleek and slick, while Maverick Vinales and Enea Bastianini will also have a very similar one to their factory counterparts, which is a change from what we saw, of course, last year. Pedro Acosta and Augusto Fernandez in 2024 as part of that Gas squad had their red livery. So now 4 very similar, very good looking machines. So Pedro Acosta then. Will we see Pedro Acosta take victory aboard the KTM in 2025? And 2/3 of you say yes. So a resounding majority. And I have to agree with you there, because Pedro Acosta is a burgeoning talent. Okay, you have the Ducatis, you have Marc Marquez, you have Pecco Bagnaia, but Acosta is very much ready and waiting in the wings to join them at the front. Now, the big question is, Acosta can get that win. Can other KTMs join him on the top step? They're going to look good doing so, having revealed their livery so far. So, big, exciting times for KTM coming up. So, exciting times indeed, as next up we also have a reminder about the big Bangkok launch coming up in February 9th. On Sunday, which will follow all of the team presentations. So make sure you join in on this. As you can see here, fans are excited. It's the first time ever MotoGP are pulling off an event like this. We're going to have the 22 fastest riders in the world. All the stars: Jorge Martin, Fabio Quartararo, Somkhat Chantra, the rookie rider, the Thai trailblazer, will set his home fans alight. The MotoGP Bangkok launch, be part of it. Sunday, 9th of February. That kicks off at 9:30 a.m. UTC time. So make sure, if you can't be there in person, you are there online. It is going to be unmissable. So let's take a look once again at those KTM liveries. Pedro Acosta's machine. Doesn't he look good? He will look good in factory orange. Orange is the new black, as they say, but plenty of black on this machine. KTM, the number 37 there. It's a beautiful looking bike, similar to what we have seen in the years before. Maybe a little bit more toned down, sleeker version, but it is certainly a good looking machine. 4 very similar looking RC16, so we'll have to differentiate the riders as much as possible through their numbers, helmets and leathers, because these bikes are almost identical. Brad Binder with his classic 33 yellow in front, so the exact same bike there in the Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Beautiful stuff. So we will hear from the riders themselves very shortly. Brad Binder, Pedro Acosta, Maverick Vinales and Enea Bastianini all coming up. But keep those chat comments coming in. We'll read out a few more. And particularly let me know, who do you think will win the battle between the factory riders and the Tech3 riders? Will Brad Binder beat Pedro Acosta this year in the championship standings? And who will come out on top between Vinales and Bastianini? Vinales, of course, chasing his 4th victory on 4th different bike. He would be the first rider in MotoGP history to ever do it. Indeed, he was the first rider in MotoGP history to do it on 3 different bikes, having taken victory with Suzuki, Yamaha and Aprilia in 2024. Aprilia's victory, sole victory last season, came at Kota. Brilliant win from Top Gun. But we are going to hear from the riders now, and first up, it's Pedro Acosta, no longer the rookie wonder, now a serious contender for silverware. Let's see what Pedro Acosta has to say.
Many good moments, but also target that is still in the pocket to make it happen for this. It's true that I learned a lot how to manage a race, how is the MotoGP class, because it's much different compared to the smaller classes in the championship. For this, I think still many goals for this season to make it happen. In 24, I learned that maybe sometimes it's better to be a little bit more calm and try to use the head in some moments, because it's true that we lose a lot of good opportunities during the year to maybe want it too much. For this, maybe this year we will use more the head. Well, yeah, for sure. At the end, was a dream come true. Come back to the factory team after being in Moto3 and Moto2. Also have Brad like teammate and helping in the development of the bike will be a really good point. At the end, he is super. Have a lot of experience in the class for this. I think we can make a good match together. Well, for 25, for sure will be the 2 important points will be the qualifying and then the first lap of the races. We see many races that we was having pace to come fight for podiums or for victories, but for this bad qualifying we was struggling to catch the group for this. Maybe these 2 points are going to be the most important things to improve during this season. Well, at the end, the pressure is only a wall, you know what I mean? At the end, it's what it means to be in a factory team for this. We take all the pressure away from our shoulders. At the end, we know where we need to improve and where we need to be precise to can be competitive. Well, at the end, having a teammate with the level that Brad is showing in the last season is important, you know. At the end, having somebody that is pushing you every session and in every run is quite important to keep improving also, and maybe this will make more motivate to the whole team.
The boy is a star in the making, as he says. Pressure is for tires, isn't it, Pedro? Brilliant stuff from the KTM factory rider. Might take some use to get saying that he's no longer a rookie, and Admiral 14K agrees the shark isn't a baby anymore. Let's go hunt Acosta. Acosta is the number 1 rider for KTM, no doubt. That comes from Calci. I don't know about that just yet. He still has to beat Binder on track. Acosta will win every race. Gao Bros, a super fan of Acosta. And another comment from Aditya Krishna, West Java. Pedro Acosta, number 37 for Champion 2025. So Acosta has a lot of fans all across the world. The question is, will he win that first race, or will he become a championship contender? Will we see him mixing it in the championship standings with the likes of Martin, Marquez, Bagnaia? Or is his aim just to be the top KTM rider in 2025? Well, next up we have a rider whose aim is to keep his crown of KTM King. which is Brad Binder. But before we get to that, we have a promo for MotoGP Premier, which is the best way to enjoy a Grand Prix race weekend. Get the VIP experience, premium hospitality and exclusive access at every race. MotoGP Premier.motogp.com. That is where you can get your tickets for the best way to enjoy a Grand Prix weekend. When you're going, why not treat yourself and do it in style? So, back to the riders, and Pedro Acosta wants to be the top rider at KTM, but if he is to do that, he needs to dethrone Brad Binder, who has been the top rider at the Austrian mark for 4 seasons now. Let's hear what Brad Binder has to say.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that this is my 6th season in MotoGP already. So, yeah, it's super cool coming into the season. Obviously, every year I feel like we've made steps forward. Last year was the first year where it came with a whole lot more challenges than I'd expected. And to be honest, it was the year where I probably learned the most. So, my goal for this season is to really take what I've learned from the previous year and, try and make that step forward to fight with the guys. 2024, I learned a lot. Firstly, I think you need to sometimes control your expectations. I think that was my first big lesson of the year. I think I always wanted that little bit extra, and sometimes it resulted in a lot of crashes, especially at the beginning of the season, which then really influenced how the weekend carried on, and it made things a lot more tricky. However, I feel like coming into 25, it's made me a much better rider, and I understand a lot more now. So looking forward to really turning things around a little bit and hopefully getting one step closer back to the front. Well, we're not far. Clearly, we finished second in the Constructors' Championship. So we have one left in front of us, and when I see how hard everybody's working at the factory and all the effort that's going on behind the scenes, it's clear we're going to get there, and the only question is when. Well, it's weird because when I think of it, I feel like we've been teammates already for a year because Tech3 and the factory team were working so closely together for the last couple of seasons that there's not really a big difference. But yeah, of course, it's strange to be the older one in the team now. It's the first time in my life that's happened. But yeah, it's super cool on one hand because, of course, Pedro has come into MotoGP with such a boom, and he's done an incredible job. So he's really incredibly fast, obviously, and for sure he's going to keep me on my toes. I think Aki brings a really cool dynamic to the team. He has a sense of calm about him, and yeah, there's a no-nonsense tolerance with Aki. I think everything is done for a reason, and he keeps things as simple as possible. So I think especially for me and a lot of guys in the team, it can really help us. And of course, he's there to elevate all of our performances. And I feel like he helps a lot from the side of giving us guidance as the riders, as well as helping the guys really push the project on. Well, 25 season, I think it's going to be our best one yet. So hopefully when we look back at the end of the year, I'm right.
Big expectations then for Brad Binder in 2025. Some really interesting comments there on the arrival of Aki Ajo as well to the factory racing squad at KTM. Aki Ajo, of course, oversaw Pedro Acosta's double World Championship win in his Moto3 and Moto2 days. Big Brad Binder, 33 fan from Cape Town, South Africa. We already know that the South African Binder is a huge star in his home country. We've seen him do plenty of collaborations with some other famous stars from South Africa. Siya Kolisi springs to mind, the World Cup winning captain from the Springboks. Binder forever, Conrad South Africa guide. Big year then for Brad Binder coming up. The challenge of Pedro Acosta, and as he mentioned as well, a different take on his team role as he becomes the senior rider within the factory racing squad. Of course, in previous years he's been partnered with Jack Miller, Miguel Oliveira, Paul Espargaro. So, interesting year ahead for Binder. He is one of the most entertaining riders on his day. Podium regular. He's 2 victories to his name in the MotoGP class, but the last of those came in 2021. So he's got a couple sprint wins as well. But in terms of Grand Prix Sunday wins, it's been a few years, and he'll be hoping to make that breakthrough once again. We of course have the return of Brno on the 2025 calendar, so perhaps that'll bring some fond memories back and motivate him to get back onto the top step. So that's a wrap on our factory KTM squad, but the show isn't over yet, because we have the very exciting Tech3 squad rider interviews to bring you. The first of which is Enea Bastianini, a 7-time Grand Prix winner who embarks on a new journey with KTM Tech3. Let's hear what the Beast has to say about the upcoming campaign.
Yeah, to be honest, we have to stay calm at the start, because it's important to approach a bit quiet, at the start, and to understand better the bike, the teamwork, because any team it's a bit different. But I'm motivated, and I think from the third, fourth race we can be competitive. Yeah, I was so curious to see other bike, because I ride the same bike for 4 consecutive years, and well, at the end, when I try the bike, I understand all the potential of this bike, and it's impressive how you can go on the edge of the corner, and also how is fast the gearbox. It's so fast. And well, have impressed me. After 4 consecutive years, it's not easy to do a change, but I was comfortable on the bike from the start. Yes, this I can say yes, and well, also on braking, the bike works well, and I can be satisfied. Yeah, I think it's important the balance, and when you are outside, usually on my lifestyle I'm so chill, but when I'm on the bike, I can open my mind and try to do what I can do, and it's good to be a MotoGP rider, and also the character of the Beast, and my surname is the Beast, and well, it's come because usually on the race I can do something more compare what you can see during the qualifying or the free practice. I don't know, but in the races usually I arrive the Beast.
So one of the most chill riders on the grid, but nicknamed the Beast, and we know once the visor goes down on Enea Bastianini, he isn't the most chill person. Just ask Jorge Martin, who lost out on a race win last year on the final lap, with Bastianini barging his way through. Interesting comments about the cornering and gearbox from Bastianini, who we know has a very smooth riding style, so it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to the RC16 in the coming campaign. Keep the comments coming in. Plenty of Bastianini fans writing in and sharing their love for Enea. So very interesting year ahead for Enea Bastianini. P4 in last year's championship, just missed out to Marc Marquez, but looked over for the factory Ducati seat. He was the incumbent for 2 seasons, but that seat was given to Marc Marquez for the 25 and 26 campaign. So Bastianini has opted to move to the Tech3 squad for 2025 and 2026. So it'll be interesting to see what the Beast can do over the coming campaigns aboard the RC16. He will be partnered by none other than Maverick Vinales. Vinales chasing history to become the first rider in the MotoGP era to win on 4 different bikes. He became the first rider to do it on 3 different bikes. He's now trying to add the KTM to his collection. Top Gun, a huge talent on his day, and let's hear what he had to say about his move to KTM.
To come back to the brand, it feels great. It feels that I have a lot of work to do. It's clear. I know very well what is the goal of the brand because I've been in the past and I know what is the DNA of KTM. So I know very well what I have to do. So I'm really focused and especially prepare for what is coming. To wear the Red Bull KTM colors, it feels really cool. You know, Sanjay Makit I'm seeing in the motocross stuff, on the racing, and you know, it's a dream team. For me, it's a dream team and I feel really good. You know, when I always, when I'm at home and I put the cap, I put the team shirt, I feel confidence. I don't know why, I feel this fire inside of me, and this is, as an athlete and as a rider, it's very important to feel this connection with the brand and with the colors you are wearing. My first thought in the KTM RC16 was, oh, this is a beast, this is fast. I remember in Montmeló it was very fast, and this is very important in the new MotoGP era because most of the race is the first 5-6 laps. If you have the army to fight in the first 5 to 6 laps and you stay in the front, probably you ended up on the podium. So yeah, I think this is very important, and we are working for that, to be able to be the first 10 laps in the front, and then I know I can smash the lap time and keep the rhythm. So yeah, that's my target, to keep with this top speed because it will allow me to fight and to be in the front. To win with 4 different manufacturers basically is history. So obviously it's a goal. It's a goal. It's really nice to be your name in the books, and this is something that motivates me a lot. Obviously it's part of the plan, it's part of the objective, but we need to remember that the objective at the end is to be number 1 at the end of the year. So that's the real goal. My expectation and especially my goal is to be especially at the maximum in every single session. It is very important because the first year when you go to a new bike, you need to be always very concentrated, you need to be open for a new feelings, for a new experience. Every time you go to a new track, it's a completely different experience from the previous years. So you have to be always with an open mentality and very focused. So my objective is to be in that kind of focus, to be able to perform at my maximum. And obviously a win and fighting in the front will be crucial and very important for us.
So the target is clear for Top Gun to make history and get that 4th win. And I'm just thinking, if he can adapt his riding style to the demands of the KTM, then that will be a sight to behold, because we know what Maverick is like. He's mercurial on his day. He's had plenty of issues getting off the line in previous years with the Aprilia. We know that the KTM is a demon at lights out, so if he can just combine and gel with the RC16 quick, then we might see Vinales riding at the front of a lot of sprints and a lot of Grand Prix. So exciting times for Top Gun. A reminder that he moves to Tech3 from Aprilia and will partner Enea Bastianini. Manu Cazot also moves with him, his crew chief, while Bastianini has Albert Girabola in the box with him. So it's really just a stacked lineup on the KTM Tech3 squad, as it is on the KTM Factory Racing squad. Brad Binder and Pedro Acosta. Binder has been the top dog in the KTM garages for the past 4 seasons, while Pedro Acosta pushed him all the way, having lost out on the top KTM place in the championship standings at the final round in 2024. He'll be looking to get, Pedro Acosta will be looking to get his first win in 2025 and become the top KTM rider and perhaps even a championship challenger. So that is it from our KTM Factory Racing and KTM Tech3 Livery Reveal and show. A brilliant year ahead for the Austrian and French teams, with 4 brilliant riders all ready to make a name for themselves on the RC16 in MotoGP. So looking ahead to what's to come in MotoGP, the big one on Sunday, the February 9th, is the big Bangkok launch. As you can see here, fans are excited. It's the very first time ever we're doing it.
It feels that I have a
the
lot of
22 fastest riders in the world, all going to be in attendance, 11 teams, Sumkya Chantra included, the rookie rider from Thailand, in front of his home fans, February the 9th at 9:30 a.m. UTC time. The MotoGP launch, Bangkok 2025. Be part of it. If you can't attend in person, make sure you tune in to MotoGP.com or indeed MotoGP's social media channels. We'll be broadcasting it everywhere. It's going to be an unmissable event, as will the 2025 campaign. So we kick off the season in Bangkok, and then we move to Thailand, February 28th. For the opening round. What a weekend that promises to be. Samkhyat Chantra debuting in the class in front of the ecstatic Thai fans, where often we can hear them screaming through the television sets. We return to Argentina, then it's the USA, where Maverick Vinales took victory last season. Some more stellar dates. Qatar brings in round 4 before Jerez, a jewel in the crown of the MotoGP racing calendar, kicks off the European dates. Germany is in there on the 11th round, July 11th, a return to Brno, then in round 12, July 18th, where Brad Binder has taken victory. Austria, KTM's home Grand Prix in front of their home fans at the Red Bull Ring. Hungary, a highlight again of the 2025 calendar, returning to the MotoGP World Championship for the first time since 1991. Then is Catalonia, San Marino, and then we're off to Asia, Japan, Indonesia, Australia and Malaysia are the Asian rounds in the second half of the campaign before we finish the 2025 World Championship with back-to-back rounds at Portimao and Valencia. So 22 rounds, 22 races, 22 sprints, 22 qualifying sessions. Plenty of time to make an impression for all of the riders across the grid, including the KTM quartet. So it's a huge season ahead. We've got more team presentations to go before we do kick off the season, starting with Yamaha, where we will see Prima Pramac Yamaha and the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP teams unveil their liveries for 2025 on Friday, which is tomorrow, from Jakarta, Indonesia. Elliot York will be here presenting the show with Lewis Sotheby live on location. So it's going to be a stellar show. Make sure you tune in for that tomorrow. But for today, that's our lot. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
The world's fastest riders are ready to hit full throttle once again. MotoGP is back. The party starts right here and now. Is this frenetic battle between Bagnaia and Marquez?
Non è ni colpa tua ni colpa mia, ma tutti e due a terra.
Shark attack. It's the rookie sensation Acosta. It's a race win behind Martin.
Hay que ganar.
Vamos. 3 names for the most coveted seat in MotoGP.
Calici perché io c'ho la new.
Magic Maverick Vinales, the top gun is back on top.
We don't give up until we reach the very top of this class.
Honestly, I would be off in KTM's position if they managed to lose him.
Le queda bien el rojo.
Pramac no es una opción.
Masterpiece from world champion Pecco Bagnaia. Whoa! Here comes Marc Marquez, one of the greatest comebacks in Grand Prix history.
Tienen que dar ya mi nombre ahí.
But here comes Martin with the element of surprise. There are more title contenders than ever, but there can be only one.